Live.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening. Welcome to Tips from the Bar.
Yes. All right. We're CCSK Law.com.
We are our weekly foray into sometimes things about the law.
And foie gras.
How do you pronounce foie gras? It's French, right?
You have to have French. You have to say
There's like a lot of extra vowels and
that
aren't pronounced.
It's contempt.
Foie gras.
Perfect. I like it.
Progress.
We were having a discussion
Progress.
as to the
The
type
origin.
of bird.
The
Type of bird involved, whether it's a goose or a duck. Turns out it can be both.
I thought it was a duck only.
And
I thought it was goose
That was
only.
embarrassing for her. We thought it was goose
Ducks
only.
are a little fancier
It
than
was
me.
She's been trying to
surprising.
raise ducks.
She's been trying to
For the
push
purpose
it.
of
And
No, I'm against that. I used to do CAFO
this
litigation.
is
so
what happens when you're
help with CAFO litigation.
CAFO?
Like factory farming.
Oh.
So,
Jordan's not telling you this is what happens with your beer bong when you get out of college and you start making foie gras.
no.
Oh yeah, 'cause they take the tubes and
They do.
force
Yeah,
them
they
down
just-
and they force
intubate the
Yeah,
geese.
pretty bad.
It's
Unreal.
awful.
Yeah.
Unreal. So,
But
not to make light of it.
Hey, good evening to
subject,
Chris
we're
Smallman,
here.
who has joined our.
Well, he's just joining me on the spot.
It's like he was waiting for us. I appreciate that, Chris. Thanks, man.
That's fast. I appreciate that, right?
We're all here tonight. It's been a while since we've all been.
I know.
Yeah. Team
You
meeting.
guys have been out
Together.
People have been out on assignments. And
And we're
Right.
back at Misbehaving Meats.
We're back in Miss
I'm
Baby.
having a
home
lovely
You're having a
pear
pear
mutation. It's
Pear
kind of
mutation.
yeah, it's reminiscent of a kombucha. A little bit.
Yeah, it
It's
tastes
very
like kombucha.
nice.
A what?
Kombucha.
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
So you take the goose.
you take this out. It's a fermented tea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty healthy. But except the SCOBY is kind of disgusting.
Yeah, that's
Is that
like
what it's
the
called? Scobie?
part of it.
It's
That,
called Scobie?
it's SCOBY.
That's Scobie or Scobie?
SCOBY.
Because he said Scobie and he's like, hey man, that Scobie Bryant's pretty cool. But it's the wrong guy.
Scobie
He's not
Yeah.
playing basketball anymore, is he?
No, he's not. He's retired, I think. So.
What?
Who is it?
Down the
Scobie.
way we go.
SCOBY?
So
The,
as we twist to get lower and deeper into the
Anyway, we're
realm of
educating
nothingness.
everyone about food and drink, you know.
Anyway,
Different
I,
types
what I
of
was going to say.
I'm having-
wait.
for
I can't
food.
wait
You
for a
have-
couple
you're not
weeks.
having
I'm not having
anything.
anything, but in a couple weeks I will be.
You're about done with your thing?
Just about done with the thing. It's
I washed
almost
out.
12 weeks.
I didn't make the cut,
Hence the ability to enjoy the drinking right now.
but I'm having.
Cheers for what you've
It's
accomplished.
not.
It
It's
looks
not
like
you.
a
It's
pretty wine.
mead. It's
Love that
a.
name. Love
It's
that
a mead. It's a.
Does it sound like
Chocolate from Evolution Confectioneries, which is up on
Rejection?
Calumet,
Oh,
and
so they
then
actually
strawberry
put this-
fragrance. So there is actual
Yeah.
chocolate in it,
Ooh,
but it smells like a
smells like that.
chocolate covered strawberry.
really?
It smells
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Does it taste
Yeah.
like it?
Not as much,
Okay.
but
it's
you know,
good.
it's that dual sense
Sure.
thing.
I've
It's
been
not you, it's
continuing.
me.
It's not.
It
It's not
sounds
you.
like
It's
rejection.
me. I love that.
I mean,
They have
it's
great
like,
names
it's like
here.
oh, the strawberries, we almost had a relationship, and then the chocolate because I got to fill my
That's
face
right.
because it's done.
That'd be a great drink to order if you came here on a date with someone you wanted to bring up.
What?
You're like,
that you wanted to bring
oh,
up.
You not want
Oh,
to
it's
be
not
the
you.
It says
Come
mead, so I got you.
Order
That's right.
two.
And
Yeah.
I got you straight.
Yeah.
What's it? It's not.
Order-
It may be
I'll
subtle.
order two.
It's not
Yeah.
you.
Order
It's
for the
me.
table.
Right.
Dating
Oh,
night.
that's hilarious.
We're gonna be
no,
paying
no.
separately, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So,
I ordered one for you, but you got to buy
I
it.
can't tag
Apple cider.
anybody tonight, including
Never
myself.
can. You never can. I mean, 50% of the
Usually I can pull myself in. I can't even do that.
the caramel apple cider. You know, I've drained
You,
like
yeah.
a quarter of
I
their.
can't believe they have any left.
Right?
Right.
That's
That's your drink right there.
This is my drink. I love
It's
the
my
caramel.
jam.
Yep.
It's my jam. It's like a
It's
drink
my
jam.
drink.
It's like a drink
I
jam.
It's
don't
a drink
know.
jam.
So now we can buy alcohol on Sundays.
On Sundays,
Yes.
has anybody actually done that?
I
No.
did not,
There was a line.
Jordan
at-
tried to buy alcohol, but they wouldn't sell it to him.
because my license expired.
Oh no!
And I was like, but I'm still
Great.
old enough.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
not
can
like
still practice
I haven't
law,
gotten
so-
younger since the license expired.
Right.
Is that all it
Somehow
takes, really?
magically-
Because I'm gonna let this expire.
They were like, no, ma'am, you cannot.
Well, they gotta
Really?
scan
I didn't
it.
realize
they
they
gotta
was a-
scan it into their system.
So it was at Meyer.
At Meijer.
So they scan
Oh.
some
Yeah.
places just to see the
When is the
birthday.
new
They
Meyer
just look at
beer
it.
open up?
I don't know.
I'm
but
really excited for it
It's
to open
gotta
up. I
be
love
soon.
Meyer. I thought it was going to be March, but I think they bumped it to April. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
But I did go to the local BMV just to shout out to them because they're fantastic. I got there at 5:15.
Isn't it crazy how quick it is now?
Yes. Tuesdays is
You know,
their
you
only
can,
night
thank
they're
for
open
that.
late.
Mitch Daniels.
Mitch Daniels.
Yeah, they completely revamped.
He re-overhauled the entire thing and moved a lot of it online.
Well, they just changed their entire mentality
yeah.
of like customer service
I
oriented
mean, I
stuff.
haven't been anywhere else, but like within Indiana.
I've been
so I don't
I've
know if
been
it's exclusive to
places.
Valpo,
It's
but
not.
No,
it's
it's
everywhere.
they've changed their location, so they're more. They have like a flow orientation to them now. They're just I don't know. They've done a lot more stuff online. They in fact push a lot of stuff online, so they.
Except they
didn't
don't
just
mail
do all that.
notices when your license expires.
I know that
Yeah,
because I
that's
got pulled over and I was reminded
Tried
that my
to buy
license
mine.
was expired.
Yep.
This was my actual plate,
Ah,
which
yes.
expired. I was telling
Yeah.
somebody this today. They changed. No, this is no excuse because I would have been later. But it used to be like the end of the month. Everybody
Right.
like your S&Ts were September. Well, they changed it, so now I'm October, but I'm the middle of the month in October.
Right.
So it's October 14th. I can never keep that in my head.
Yeah.
But this was December when I got pulled over, so there was no excuse. But you're right. My license, I think I was expired with my license for a year.
Yeah, I did.
Before I realized
something
I got
This
pulled
is a
over
while back.
after because what happened was I had my license plates had expired, but I had already filed online. I just hadn't got it in the mail yet,
Oh.
and so I got pulled over in that period. And, it was
But you can
very-
have the receipt.
I did.
Yeah.
I just explained to him that I had already mailed them and I've already done the thing online. I hadn't got it yet. And so he pulled it up and he said, "Yep, looks good in there. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just had to pull you over because I saw the plate." And I said, "That's fine."
A lot of times they'll wait, though, like a month or so after the expiration date to start pulling people over.
Jordan, have you simplified your Facebook page?
I have
Maybe. The future is what?
female.
Oh, uh-oh.
She's
coming to
on the
blows.
move.
More good stuff.
On the move.
But anyway, usually they take the time because people are waiting for stuff to get into the mail and such. But
Right. But he saw it and so he pulled me. That's fine.
that's right.
Oh,
I've
honey.
done that same
Well,
thing.
and that's the thing. At some point, you're just going to be able to pay online. You're not going to have to do anything because they look your license plate up regardless of what's on it.
Yeah, that's
It's like
true.
when you're sitting behind you, they're running open warrants. They're
Oh
checking,
yeah, they're checking all
is the
the
plate matched up with who am I
Yeah.
what am I looking for on the license?
Is there insurance on the car?
Yeah.
They check it all.
So it's funny thing is I can't find myself. I tagged
Well,
everybody
you don't
but
exist
me.
in Facebook. Facebook? Ooh, it's Facebook.
Fake book.
Wow,
There I am.
That sounds like a political statement right there.
Fake book. Fake book. Fake
Isaac.
book.
We're just
Fake
a long
news.
day.
Yeah.
Fake
So
news.
I think Isaac, are you gonna talk
Oh,
to us
yes.
about
Oh,
We
yeah.
got, and Jordan's like, we got guys. It's been like
It's been-
15 minutes almost. And
Come on,
we
boys.
need
We
to get
talked
through
about
something.
blah,
Dig in
blah.
yours.
We talked about
You're talking about the
kombucha.
important things.
Yeah.
I guess we can hit on some law.
Yeah,
Right?
but
Do we have
this is a shout out. Just check your license plate and your driver's license.
And the
See when
batteries
it-
in your
Yes.
light
see when it expires.
in your
The little
smoke alarms, right? Because it's daylight savings time.
Oh, no.
Which Isaac learned what that is today.
CDT.
Day.
No, CST versus CDT.
So they were talking just like
Central Standard Time.
standard time versus daylight savings time.
Right.
Yeah, so like when do you
And it's
use
an
7
hour
p.m. CST and when do you use 7 p.m. CST?
We're in DT.
Oh, I don't know.
We're in DT now.
Oh, okay.
So when
I know
time
what daylight
changes,
savings was.
wait, I have to change my clock?
I mean, some places don't. Southern Indiana, I don't think does
No, they
it.
do. Now
do.
all of
Now
Indiana
they do.
shows.
Now all of
Okay.
Indiana.
They
It
didn't
used to be that the all but Northwest. So the majority of Indiana didn't used to change. It was
Right,
down around
just-
Louisville, down around Evansville, and up here.
Yeah.
And we went with Chicago. Evansville went with Central Time, and Louisville area, Louisville
That's all
stayed with
Eastern.
Louisville, right? So
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
Nashville, which is directly there, that's on Central Time.
yeah, right. So
That's
it's,
kinda
it's
messed
random, but just thing to be aware of is we're talking about nothing but nothing. My prediction is that there's going to be a
So
big
everything?
push in the legislature next year to go to
Yeah.
full Central Time.
Full
in
Central
Indiana.
Time and all
Yeah,
of it. I
I've
heard
heard
something.
about
I
that.
heard
All
something
right.
about that.
That's going to be
Yeah.
the push for Indiana.
Was that just talking about in the office, or did I hear that somewhere?
No,
else?
I think
heard that somewhere else.
somebody floated it really late in the session,
Yeah.
which is sort of like a trial balloon, and it didn't
Yeah.
cause the end of the
I
world.
wonder, are
Right.
most
So I
other
think they'll bring it.
states all in one time zone?
Yeah,
wonder-
when you
I
get
think so.
Illinois all in one time zone.
Yeah.
It's
Ohio.
Tennessee splits, Kentucky splits. It's like literally, if you look at the line, Indiana is too far one.
It
If
really is.
Kansas,
kind of on the
if
spot,
Kansas can be all in one time zone as
Yeah.
long and ridiculously
Or
boring as it
Nebraska,
is,
right?
it should definitely be able to get Indiana in one time.
And the problem with Indiana is it's the majority of the state. I mean, if you look, we're directly below Michigan, which for some reason is all Eastern. So Michigan's all Eastern.
Yeah.
But first part of it, so Chicago is why our corner of the world gets pulled over. But it used to be really a mess, and for the longest time, I grew up in Central Indiana, so I never changed clocks. So Monday is the worst day of the year for me because part of it's just an internal struggle with how do you give up an hour? It doesn't make any sense. Well, you get it back in October. I'm like, no, I don't. I can't lose it now. And I just can't ever adjust to it because I'm a late night person. And when that early morning thing happens, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See, I was different because back in the early 2000s, before they were doing this, I was working in the financial industry. So even though the clocks didn't change in Indianapolis, my work schedule changed because we had to go in with the earlier opening of the market and everything. And so I've kind of been experienced a lot longer because I was used to saying, oh, well, we have to be an hour earlier.
The way it affected us in Central Indiana was the majority of people it affected your TV viewing.
Yes.
Because basically all the prime time stuff shifted back an hour, or moved ahead an hour.
Yeah. So your TV
so it was actually so it was kind of cool because then it was brighter longer.
Yeah.
And so you didn't miss your first prime time shows because they got pushed back. That's how we were affected by prime time with TV. Yeah. But now, like, you go down there in Lafayette, and it's sunny till 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can play a full round of golf after work.
Well, so that could be another benefit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a fan of that.
That's why they changed that, actually. Yeah.
Well,
you thought it was farming.
Do you know the lobby that was against the time change?
No.
Farmers.
That's farming, yeah.
Which made no sense because they don't
farming
live
for
by a
food.
clock. They'll
What do
farm
they have to
at
get up for?
2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. I know, that was the weird thing.
They go by
PTA
sunlight.
meetings.
It was supposed to help farmers.
They go by sunlight. What does it matter?
I
They don't
know.
care what
So it's
time
like,
it is.
if it's time to harvest, it's time to harvest.
Yeah.
They don't care
If
what
you're
the
a
clock's
farmer
for.
and you
Please
know the
explain
reason
to
for
us.
Let us know.
let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to get that question.
Something with
So-
because of the way that daylight, because they couldn't get started until later in the day.
Yeah, it
by the
had
time they got
something
done,
to
they
do
were
with,
able to get into town and do the things they want to do or something. I don't know. That's why.
But you also figure, our school schedules are based on the agrarian calendar and things of that nature.
Oh, sure.
So,
The whole thing is.
the
I'm 100%
influence
for
of
your
farming.
school now that I'm not at school anymore.
Yeah. I
That's a great
agree.
idea.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Why are we not there? Well, I'll tell you what. We're answering the hard questions here
That's right.
today.
All right, so we
And
got
what
something
about
about
partnerships?
partnerships. So
Man, it's all about
got
partnerships,
the-
you know?
Yeah, it's not the partnerships.
So you got 5 minutes, go.
Got 5 minutes. All right, let's do this.
So what
Remember,
if I
5
wanted to
minutes.
start
So if you're going to start a
kombucha business?
Right.
Nice. Yes.
An ethical.
And then
I'm going to take care of the
Yeah.
Goose
kombucha
friendly
side.
for our
Goose
gosh.
friendly.
She's doing the kombucha. I'm going to
Maybe
take care
we'll
of the
just
fall
do
guys.
like a friendly goose farm, not to eat.
Friendly goose
Just a
farm.
zoo, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll just do like
To-
beef flavored
we don't-
mousse and we'll call it foie.
Beef flavored moose.
I don't
Is
know.
that a genetic hybrid? Is that? I don't know, but
I
I
don't
like
want to
it.
know how to get that.
You're right.
Don't
So-
don't
Okay,
ask.
so
Don't ask.
kombucha.
Just
You're
eat.
raising
Kombucha. We'll
geese
just
and
do
meese.
that.
Geese and meats.
Geese and meese.
Geese and meats.
Geese and meats. Let's pitch that one.
No.
But with regard to partnerships,
Yeah.
there can be a lot of danger in who you select to be a partner with. If you ever check out my video on the top 5 ways to limit your liability, the biggest one on there, I say it last, but even though it is the biggest one, is
Where
watch
can
who
they
you
find
work
that
with.
video?
You can find it on our website,
Which is?
CCSK Law.
.com.
Oh,
Oh, wait, we can't use that, can we? That's probably
Wait, I don't know.
trademark or patent.
It's
Is that
parody.
coming still around?
It is parody.
Yeah, we're doing parody right now, but you can find that on there. And one of the biggest ways that you can prevent liability or problems from coming is just watching who you work with. Having good filtering systems to say, maybe I shouldn't work with this person. The biggest problem that usually comes up with a lot of people, family or friends or a personal partner. I categorize them all into personal partner. Now you have business peers. You have people who you went to a networking event or you met through some kind of business transaction or some kind of front that was based on business. Even if it was a social networking event, it still might be founded your friendship on business. And you may not have had transacted business directly yet, but your friendship is generally based around that. That's a lot easier to get into business because that's what your foundation is on. However, you're not seeing them at Thanksgiving dinner. You're not seeing them around the house, right? If you happen to be married to this person, it can be really dangerous to step into from a personal relationship to a professional one because now
And
you
keep
got
those separate.
and keep those separate.
Right.
The things are going to overflow. They're all going to overlap unless you have really good measures in place to keep that stuff separate.
Have you seen this happen?
I've seen it go both
Yeah.
ways. I've seen some of my best clients are actually husband-wife couples. Like husband-wife both own part of the partnership, and they're both taking on. Sometimes the woman's really running with the business, and the husband helps out. And sometimes vice versa, where the husband started the singing and the woman sometimes does some of the helping out on that too. But it doesn't really matter who's taking lead on the business. That doesn't seem to matter as much as the fact that they're able to work together really well. So some of our best clients can do that. And I've had like brothers. They're running a business, super successful. Both are kind of taking on their own part. Sometimes they even have like a natural dynamic where they've been working together since they were young, so they're actually able to continue working together. And that's not unheard of. But I've seen it go the other way, where you get a family member who they maybe say they can do something, and you're trusting them, and then they can't do it. And sometimes you don't tell them
you're trying to help out a family member. And
trying to help out
that's a problem.
Can be a big problem.
And it's not just in partnerships though, because I've seen this type of stuff happen within S corps and things like that, where it's the family dynamic just messes everything up when you're in business.
Whether it's an LLC, a corporation, or a partnership, it's the relationship.
So when you're dealing with a partnership, where let's take the family dynamic out of it. How do you protect yourself? What do you do? What are the different ways you can do this?
Great way to take care of a lot of your expectations and the accountability for someone failing to meet those expectations is an operating agreement for an LLC or bylaws and a shareholder agreement for a corporation. If you're a partnership, which means you haven't registered with the state, then you're going to have a partnership agreement. You can have a limited partnership too, but we're not going to go into that. But really, you're going to have an agreement in place that dictates the terms of that relationship, and you're going to lay out the expectations of one another. You're taking on these roles. I'm doing this, right? This is what we've contributed into it. This is what we're hoping to get back out of it. These are the things that need to be taken care of. This is how we make decisions. This is how we have meetings. And if someone fails to meet those, these are the consequences, or these are steps that we're going to take to help remedy that. That right there should be laid out very early on. And like I say this a lot, you want to know what holes are in your bucket before you fill it with a lot of water. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of time and money. Basically, take a critical look at your relationship before you start investing a lot of time and money into it. Because if you haven't vetted it well, there's going to be holes in that bucket, and you're going to start seeing those leaks come out when you don't want it to be full of that resources and time and money.
Well, and that's, I think, the way you just described, people could sit down and sort of put together here's how we're going to work together, which would be more contractual than sort of articles of organization, articles of incorporation, bylaws, or whatever you might be. I mean, there are things that you want to make sure you include in whatever corporate structure you put or company structure you put together. Legally, you want to make sure you have some things covered. I was at a meeting of a nonprofit the other day, and they're going back through the articles of incorporation. Yeah. And one of the things I highlighted was, things to address. There's no conversation about terms of board membership. It's sort of just, if you're on the board, you're on the board. There's no exit strategy. There's no, wait, am I stuck here forever? And people may think, well, that's great because I love the organization. I want to be on it forever. The problem is if you start to try to recruit people from outside the sort of immediate family, if you will, if someone doesn't see an exit strategy, they're going to be reluctant to get involved. You need to know that it has some sort of potential to terminate, or if I love it, how do I stay on? Just having some of those things in place to say, if everything breaks bad, here's how we cover ourselves. If everything's going great and you still want to be a part, here's how that happens. Or this is what the commitment is we're looking for, and here's your requirements. Here's how you play a role. Here's how other people are going to support you. So it's really important to get that on paper because there's great energy at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Always is.
Everybody's like, this is going to be the world's greatest. We're going to take on the world. Yeah. And then when things like no income happen,
the big one.
Wait, we need to have everybody chip in more money. Things like those things that come about.
All of a sudden it's like,
it starts to stress the nerves just a little bit. So you need to have some vision towards addressing the things that you're not thinking about in the happy-go-lucky time.
Yep. Yeah. I always tell clients, hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Right, exactly.
You have to.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it really should be something that you look at your relationship, and you should before you get into any kind of partnership, membership, corporation, anything like that. You should really look at your relationship and know what you're getting into, which means having a really blunt discussion about it. It doesn't need to be mean. It doesn't need to be like ruining to the relationship. In fact, it only helps the relationship to go through that.
Honest.
And you know what your expectations are.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people are afraid that it's going to mess with the dynamic. I guarantee it's going to mess with that dynamic, but it's going to mess with it even worse if it falls apart.
Right, exactly.
So protecting
You'll find new
If
dynamics.
it falls apart,
Right.
you will find new ways to hate people.
Right, yeah.
So if there are partners out there right now who've already started business together
Sure.
and are watching this and are like, is it too late?
No, not
What
at all.
are-
It's so common. Actually, sometimes it's good if you actually start a little bit to get to know your dynamics so you can have that honest discussion. It's good to talk beforehand, but even if you've already started working together, because not all the times when I'm talking to people do they really know what roles they fall into yet, if the business is so new. Maybe you have a little bit of time to feel that out, but it's good to get something in place for that contract to really lay out the relationship. And it's never too late to get a good contract in place, or if you have something, or if you print it offline. A lot of times if you print it offline, it doesn't say what you think it does.
Be so careful. Please be careful.
Oh, I've seen it go the wrong way, and they come in and say, no, we talked about this, but your agreement says
You
this.
signed
Yeah.
this.
And this is what you signed. I know you talked about this,
Yeah.
but this agreement controls. So that's a huge thing about that.
And
Wow.
do you recommend that both partners have the same lawyer as you, or having the business have a lawyer?
Oh, fantastic question. No, really good. That's probing into that one. Each partner should individually have counsel review that agreement beforehand. It doesn't need to be, again, litigious. It's just like double checking yourself. Hey, could you get an attorney to double check that? And like normally, I'll step in. I'm on behalf of the business. A lot of times, I represent the entity, not individual partners. I can represent an individual partner if they come to me and say, review these business documents, but then I'm not representing the business.
Right.
It's possible you can have one person who writes the document and they represent both parties, and you don't need to have it reviewed by independent counsel, but that option should be there, especially if you have any questions about anything.
Yeah.
If you're working with somebody and they just like, no, you can't have independent counsel check that, you got a
Right.
bigger red
Yeah,
flag
yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little
Red
bit of a
flag.
bigger issue.
Right. I mean, that's where it comes down to. I lost my train of thought. How many of these do I have?
Oh, you're not drinking.
No,
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't get to bed till almost 1 o'clock last night. That is very odd for me.
It's only 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, technically, I thought that.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
actually
Isn't
thought
that the
about
battle you have?
It is.
That's
I
the
thought
thing.
that, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah. The
But yeah,
No.
have independent counsel. If you know, yeah, if they
No.
have, if your partner
Raise
has
your
an
hand
issue
when you
with
get it
that,
back.
if your partner has an issue with that, that's it's not adversarial to protect
No.
your interests.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good
So
so,
it's see, yeah, I got that.
Nice.
So that's we work on each other. We get this
We
working.
do.
No,
Because we're
it's
not friends. We're
They
business
don't-
partners.
That's right.
and,
We
you
have
know
an
the reason
agreement.
Yeah.
the reason that you want another attorney to go through it is because the person that's writing it isn't intentionally going to do something wrong or something that's not in your favor. But you need to know what are the things within this document that are a little bit in my partner's favor or a little bit in my favor, and where's that balance at? Because if you get a document and it's all written in your partner's favor, it's probably not intentional. It's just the attorney they hired was like, hey, this is the contract I put together, and I'm thinking of my client's interests, so I put this together, and it's up to you to take a look at it and put it the other way. And it doesn't mean that your partner knows about it or even understand what is written, just that he has somebody to write it
Yeah.
up. So it's good to have that other person to come in and say, I got questions on this, this, and this, and that's how you really end up with a balanced contract that's really a win-win for everybody.
Especially, I mean, it can bring in things that you didn't realize, like, maybe the contract, they're like, oh, this could actually implicate, your spouse, or what happens in, in case of divorce, or
Right.
things
Right.
like that
Absolutely.
that you didn't
Yeah.
even think about, and
Right.
that your partner didn't think about,
Right.
and they
Exactly.
wouldn't, they wouldn't know that maybe your spouse has an interest,
Right.
or things
Right.
like
Right.
that. So,
Well, and
It's not-
liability and responsibility.
Yeah.
We talk about LLCs. I mean, the key word there is a liability. You're trying to insulate yourself from the corporate or company liability. But as we've seen, there's a lot of things you can do to just blow right through that and not provide. Even you may have a limited liability company in name, but in action,
Yeah,
blow
you've
it up.
blown that up.
Yeah, I guarantee
And everybody needs to understand it because one person's action blows it up for everybody.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I may be the bad actor and everybody else is acting great, but I can blow a hole in it for everybody.
Yep.
Not just
Turn it
not
RG.
just my own. Right. Yeah.
If
Sorry.
you don't respect that entity, a court's not going to respect that entity.
Yeah.
Keeping it.
Sorry about
keeping it
paying for that
separate.
vacation out of the on the debit card, company debit card.
We would need to talk about that, and I think now's an appropriate time.
Just borrowed from the
Right. I didn't mean to swipe the debit card. Wrong
Same
debit
color
card.
as my purse.
Right, I know it is.
And it's funny, I actually did that at Walmart one time for like $10 or something I bought, and I grabbed the company debit card and used that, and I made them put it back on. Right, I was like,
I need to return that.
I
I
need
need
to
to return
return
that.
that. Like, I completely messed it up. So I caught myself, but it was just a little bit too late. I was like,
No. Yeah.
that was like a year ago. That was a long time ago, though. So
Wow, long time.
We had to reprimand him.
Yeah.
Put him in the box.
we actually have a box at the back room right now, and it's like putting them in the hole. I mean,
It's in our operating agreement for our LLC. You know, like, hey, this is the accountability. We have expectations. Here's the accountability. They go to the box. Yeah, you should see that the hat that they have to wear too. It's ridiculous.
One of those. What is it? Cone of shame.
The cone of shame.
dunce caps.
Let's be fair. We've all worn the cone of shame.
I do not like the cone of shame.
I do not like
the cone of shame.
It's
good. So good stuff tonight.
That was funny. I just watched them walk out, and then I glanced down and I watched them walk out again. I'm like, wait,
Oh yeah, that
there's a bit of a delay.
So Misbehaving Meats, come down, check it out. Really good stuff. They've got a little bit of everything for everybody, so all different kinds of flavors.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what that blood pact is about. That seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That's the name of the drink, by the way. Not something else going on.
Right,
Off camera.
Right.
Sorry. Off
I
camera.
want to see what that's about.
What are they doing over there with the blood pact? No. But they would have a drink called Blood Pact that looks interesting. I'm guessing it's red. I was thinking it was that, but it's not.
Oh no, it is. I may have had it. I may have had a sample when I came in one time.
Huh. Interesting.
Blood orange, maybe.
Couple weeks, and I'll be out of town for a week.
How's your thing going?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah. Still this week this last weekend I actually dropped more weight over the week.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to up my protein because I wasn't getting enough protein. So I upped my protein and that kind of stalled my weight loss for a little bit, but I was packing on muscle at the same time.
Nice.
So my body fat percentage was going, but my muscle was increasing.
Good.
And so then this last week I actually had weight loss again. So overall,
Pure
I'm
fat
excited with it.
loss challenge.
Are you feeling better?
Working
Oh, I feel
for
great.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
And you
great.
don't start
Except
till 1 a.m.
for I've got to cinch my belt real tight, and I'm going to have to get new jeans because the jeans I have aren't really
That's
good.
good. That's good.
problem.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Maybe. CCSKLaw.com. Check us out online.
Send us questions or
Questions?
comments
Yes.
via
Which we
Facebook.
appreciate. I got a question from somebody on the website the other day that was talking about a situation. It was an elder law type of situation, and it's great when you get that somebody has the opportunity to sit down and sort of dump their brain into a box.
Makes it
And
so much
you get
easier
that
to try to
thing
deal
because
with
you have an
talking.
idea, right? And
Yeah.
immediately I'm able to, I actually, her question was this, and I saw two other things that could really benefit her to help, get the care for her parent, help take some pressure off of her, and ultimately address the question she had, but round out some of these things. So a lot of times people have this question, and when they get a chance to talk to an attorney about whether whatever the situation might be, we look at the big picture of stuff and help people get a complete solution. So looking forward to chatting with her a little bit more.
Excellent.
Well, you guys have a good week.
Thanks
again for joining us.
Enjoy daylight savings.
Enjoy your extra hour of daylight.
Yes.
Next
That's
time
right,
you
your
won't even
CBT.
believe it.
Right.
I gave you an hour daylight.
That's right.
We will see you next week.
CCSKLaw.com. Questions?
CCSKLaw.com.
And you can always drop questions in the box here, and we'll go back and check them out
You
later.
betcha.
So have a great evening.